Hello and welcome to Current Affairs for Beginners. The answer for our yesterday's question is, based on which of the following parameters the prompt corrective action framework is invoked on the banks? What are all the four parameters? Capital to risk weighted asset ratio, leverage ratio, net non-performing assets and the return on assets, that is the profitability. If all the four parameters were crossed with their threshold limits, then this prompt corrective action framework will be invoked on a bank by the Reserve Bank of India. So as all the four are correct, the answer here is D, all the above. Now let's start our today's session, and these are all the topics that we are going to cover in our today's video. First article is 139 polluted cities not on clean air plan. This article comes under GS paper 3 under the topic of environment, and here the subtopic is pollution. So from this article, now we are going to see about two things. One is what is meant by this National Clean Air Program and what are these National Ambient Air Quality Standards. First, let us see about this National Ambient Air Quality Standards. First of all, what is meant by this ambient air quality? Ambient air quality means it is the condition or quality of air surrounding us in the outdoors. These National Ambient Air Quality Standards are the standards for ambient air quality, that is the condition or quality of air that is surrounding us. And these standards are set by the Central Pollution Control Board, and these standards are applicable nationwide, all over the nation. From where does this CPCB has got this authority to fix these standards? It is the Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act, which has given responsibility or provided this power to the CPCB to fix these national air quality standards. Based on that, this CPCB has launched a new index known as National Air Quality Index, in order to provide information on air quality in an easily understandable form for the general public. And this index measures 8 pollutants. One is particulate matter of size 10 microns, particulate matter 2.5, and nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, ozone, ammonia, and lead. So these National Ambient Air Quality Standards are set up for all these 8 pollutants. That means these pollutants should not cross these limits that were set up by the CPCB. The next one is National Clean Air Program. What is this National Clean Air Program? Recently, the Union Environment Minister has launched this National Clean Air Program. This program is launched with an aim to tackle the challenges of increasing air pollution in the cities and towns. If we see what are the features of this program and how the government is planning to tackle this increasing air pollution in the cities and towns, means it is a 5-year action plan with a tentative target of 20 to 30% reduction in the concentrations of, here they took only 2 pollutants. One is particulate matter 10 and PM 2.5, and the target date is 2024. They want to limit it, these PM 2.5 and PM 10, to the levels of 2017. And this plan covers 1 or 2 non-attainment cities. What are these non-attainment cities? These are the cities that were consistently showing poorer air quality than these National Ambient Air Quality Standards. If they have crossed these limits, then they are called as non-attainment cities. Some of the cities that were included under this list are like Delhi, Varanasi, Bhopal, Kolkata, Noida, Muzaffarpur and Mumbai. Here, the plan is to cover these 1 or 2 non-attainment cities that were in 23 states and union territories. These cities were identified by the Central Pollution Control Board based on the ambient air quality data that was available between 2011 and 2015. So now if we see this article is completely talking about a report known as Airpocalypse 3 that was published by Greenpeace. This report says that there are total 241 non-attainment cities, but the government has considered only 1 or 2 non-attainment cities under this National Clean Air Program, so that 139 cities were left out. And it is also saying that it has analyzed the pollution data of 313 cities, out of which it found 241 are non-attainment cities. And the analysis of air pollution data was based on the year 2017, whereas the national government has considered these 1 or 2 non-attainment cities pollution data based on 2015. So it says that even if the National Clean Air Program, which is targeting to reduce this PM10 and PM 2.5 levels by 30% by 2024, still 153 cities will be left out with pollution levels exceeding these national ambient air quality standards. Dear students, regarding that article, we have provided you with a mains question. The first one is mention the salient provisions of National Clean Air Program and highlight the ways in which it would help reduce pollution in Indian cities. You can answer this question in our www.civilsprep.com website. Now let's see a prelims question related to that article. Which among the following pollutants are considered while measuring the air quality index? Lead, ammonia, carbon monoxide, ozone and particulate matter 10. Try to answer this question and post your answer in our comment box, and tomorrow we'll see explanation for this question. The next article is decision put off on institutes of eminence. This article comes under GS paper 2 under the topic of governance, and the subtopic here is education. Now we are going to see this concept of what are these institutes of eminence. This concept of institute of eminence was rolled out by the University Grants Commission with a primary objective to establish the institutes of eminence in India, to set up higher educational institutions that have become world-class teaching as well as research institute. That means to elevate them to that higher level. And under this scheme, 20 higher educational institutions, out of which 10 are from the government side, that is the public institutions, 10 are private institutions, will be provided with this Institute of Eminence tag. So here you can see that this scheme is aimed to develop world-class institutions. They wanted to develop the world-class institutions which will put India in the global education map. This was the aim of this scheme. The institutions that acquire this status will be provided with a greater autonomy and freedom to decide what could be their fees, what is their course duration, and the structures also. As I have said, this program will include 20 institutions, 10 from public, 10 from private. And out of this, these 10 public institutions will receive 1,000 crore grant. Remember here, the private institutions will not receive any financial assistance to develop, whereas only the public, that is the government institutions, will receive this 1,000 crore grant. Last year, the government has given this tag of Institute of Eminence tag to 6 institutions. Out of this, 3 are IIT Delhi, IIT Bombay, IISc Bangalore, which are public institutions. And there were other 3 private institutions, that is Pits Pilani, Manipal University, and the other one is Geo University. So out of total 26 were given this status, whereas 14 more needs to be awarded with this status of eminence, Institute of Eminence tag. Now let's see a prelims question regarding this article. With regard to the Institutes of Eminence scheme, consider the following. Under this, 20 public higher educational institutions and 10 private institutions will be granted the eminence tag. Under this, only the public higher educational institutions will be provided with 1000 crore grant. Answer this question and post your answer in the comment box, and tomorrow we'll see the answer for this question. The next article is Rajasthan Zika strain is endemic to Asia, says the new study. This article comes under GS paper 3 under the topic of science and technology. From here we are going to see about this Zika virus. What is the Zika virus? It is a vector-borne disease that is transmitted primarily by a mosquito known as Aedes aegypti mosquito. This is the mosquito which is also responsible for transmitting dengue, and this virus will be spread through blood transfusion and sexual contact, and this virus is capable of causing serious birth defects like neurological disorders and fetal deformation. Fetal deformation is known as microcephaly. Here, the infants that were born will be born with abnormally smaller heads. This is the condition known as microcephaly. And at present, there is no specific treatment or vaccine that is currently available to treat this Zika, and the best form of prevention of this virus is to protect against mosquito bites and clearing the stagnant water where the mosquitoes breed. The next article is Think Universal Basic Capital. This article comes under GS paper 2 under the topic of governance, and here we are going to see about this universal basic income, which we have already covered in our yesterday's video. Now we'll see it in brief for the people who missed it. Universal basic income is a minimum level of income that is guaranteed by the government of any country to its citizens. It is nothing but a financial support given by the government to its people so that they don't have to struggle for basic needs of life like food, shelter, etc. Our Indian Economic Survey of 2016-17 had a full chapter on this universal basic income. There, the characteristics of the universal basic income were mentioned in this way. They are, one is, it has to be periodic. That means it will be paid at regular intervals. For example, monthly ones, not as a one-time grant. And the next one is, it is a cash transfer but not an in-kind transfer. It means this method will allow the person, whoever is receiving this cash, to decide on what they will spend this cash, for what they will use this amount. It is not a in-kind transfer, which means such as like providing food. Now through PDS system we are providing this ration or some services, or in vouchers that were dedicated only to a particular use. This cash can be used based on the decision of the person, whoever is receiving it, on which this amount has to be spent on. And individual, that means it is paid on an individual basis and not to the entire household. It is paid to every individual in the household. Fourth characteristic is it is universal. That means it is paid to all without any test. That means here there are no targeted beneficiaries. Every citizen can avail this benefit. Next, unconditional, which means it is paid without any requirement to work or to demonstrate their willingness to work. Based on that universal basic income concept, we have provided you with a mains question, students. Do you think that Indian government should proceed with the idea of replacing subsidies with universal basic income? You can write this answer in our www.civilsprep.com website. The next article is US imposes sanctions on Venezuelan oil firm. This article comes under GS paper 2 under the topic of international relations, and from this article now we are going to see about an organization that is mentioned here known as OPEC. What is this OPEC? Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. Petroleum Exporting Countries. This grouping, this organization was formed in order to coordinate and unify, to maintain uniform petroleum policies among the member countries of this grouping, and to ensure, this is the first thing, to coordinate and to maintain uniform petroleum policies among the member countries, and the second one is to ensure stabilization, to stabilize oil markets in order to secure and or to provide an efficient, economic and regular supply of petroleum to the consumers. And the other reason is to provide a steady income, to make sure the producers will get a steady income and fair return on the capital that was invested by the producers in the petroleum industry. Here you can see all the member countries of this organization of petroleum exporting countries. They are Iraq, Libya, Algeria, Venezuela, Ecuador, Nigeria, Gabon, Angola, and this Gabon term got terminated from this OPEC organization in 1995 and it came back and rejoined this in 2016. There is also another country known as Equatorial Guinea, which is also member of this OPEC. The others were Iran, Kuwait, United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia. Till last year, 2018, Qatar is a member of this OPEC, but from January 1st, this is no longer a member of this OPEC. So total there are only 14 OPEC countries. Now let's see a prelims question that is related to this article. Which among the following countries are members of OPEC? Iran, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Libya, Algeria. Try to answer this question and post your answer in the comment box. The next article is, the government may ask taxmen to file GST profiteering please. This article comes under GS paper 3 under the topic of economy. From this article now we are going to see about a concept known as anti-profiteering. What is this anti-profiteering? First of all, we should know what is meant by profit. Profit means Mr. A has invested some 100 rupees in a project and he got a return of 120 rupees. He invested only 100 but he got 20 rupees extra, which is a profit to him. Then what is meant by this profiteering? It is an unethical or unreasonable excess profit. For example, let us take same Mr. A. He sells some toothpaste which is known as X at 100 rupees. So before GST, let us say that the tax rate at this 100 rupees toothpaste is 20%. So the final market price would be 120 rupees. 20% out of this 100 is 120. So the consumer has to purchase this X toothpaste at 120 rupees. Now, the government under this GST regime has reduced this tax rate from 20% to 12%. So what would be the market price now? It is 112 rupees only. So now, if this Mr. A will not provide this benefit to the consumers, which is a benefit under this new tax regime, that is GST regime, and he still provides this product at 120 rupees only, then it is known as profiteering. So, as the government has considered or it came into its notice, some of the business or companies were doing this profiteering. So, the government has started this anti-profiteering and it has set up a authority known as National Anti-Profiteering Authority, whose role is to look into these kind of matters. So this article says that till now only the consumers, they used to file the complaints against the businesses for not passing the benefits of reduction of GST rates on various products. But there is a standard operating procedure. According to this standard operating procedure under the GST regime, here the GST officers, whether they are central or state government officers, they can take up this issue of profiteering. That means they can investigate or inquire regarding this profiteering by various companies. And dear students, finally, as today is January 30, which is the death anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, there is also an article in our editorial. Based on that, we have provided you with a mains question. It is Gandhiji and his principles still holds as much prominence in present times as during freedom struggle. Elaborate. And students, this is our Law Extrons website where you can access the notes for this video, and this is our official Telegram channel, and this is the link for that. Thank you.